Hello. It's David Jones here at Tenacious D Jones on the Twitter app or Tenacious D Jones on the DraftKings app, hopefully climbing up the leaderboards. I'm talking to you about showdown slates, people. That's my thing. I love showdown slates, specifically on DraftKings. We have the Seattle Seahawks and the Arizona Cardinals Part 2 coming up on Thursday night. No more Jets business, no more Giants showdowns. No more Tom Brady taking a huge crap on your lineups on Thursday night showdowns. We got a good one. Last time these two teams met, it was 37-34. Arizona took that one. It's a 57.5 over-under in this game. Seattle is favored by 3. It is in Seattle. Also, do us a favor while you're watching this video. Please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. I was glued to the channel for all the fantastic Masters content last week. I absolutely love it. But we're going to have to wait 3 more months to get more Masters content. So we're talking football on this show until then. Okay, what are we going to do? How are we going to play this one? Well, first you have to know about the injuries. Over on the Arizona side, Kenyan Drake is a little beat up. Looks like he's going to play. Cliff Kingsbury's come out and said if he does play, which it does seem likely that he would play now. You have to watch the news on that, obviously. He's got a questionable tag by his name. That he would be splitting carries on a short week with Edmonds, which makes a lot of sense to me. Also, that's an easy way to say we want to just get Edmonds some more playing time. But over on the Seattle Seahawks side, so it looks like Chris Carson is unlikely to play. Just came out that he looks unlikely to play. They're saying he's still going to be a true game time call. It looks unlikely. So I will be doing the show as if Chris Carson is not playing. If Chris Carson were to play, then you would play some Chris Carson. You would no longer have any interest in Alex Collins or DJ Dallas. Travis Homer is doubtful now. He's not going to play. If he does, it would shock me. But yeah, that's just how we're going to do this show, as if Chris Carson isn't going to play, because that's the tweet I just saw. So also, huge question around Tyler Lockett. He's dealing with a minor, Pete Carroll minor knee sprain. He said it's not that big of a deal. But Pete Carroll is acting as if he's going to roll Lockett out anyways. So I am going to attack this slate for now as if Lockett is playing. However, I do not think he will be playing at 100%. Last time he was 100% against the Arizona Cardinals, he put up 200 real football yards and scored 3 touchdowns. It was the Tyler Lockett game. That's how we refer to it in our little DFS circle. I don't think he does that again. I don't think Arizona's going to let a guy who just put up 200 on him go out there and do it again. We're just going to have to see. He should have a decent day, but by no means do I think he's going to absolutely explode for 200 yards again. So let's start breaking it down. Who do we want to play at the captain spot? The past 3 or 4 DK slates, a cheap wide receiver has gone for like 100 yards and 2 touchdowns and won people $550,000, $225,000, $111,000 and change. Maybe someone's going to take down this millionaire maker by themselves finally. I want to see it. I think it's happened once or twice this season, but I want to be on the top side of that. I would like for it to be me or someone watching this video. Kyler Murray is the most expensive player, the Arizona Cardinals quarterback, who was throwing Hail Marys and succeeding to DeAndre Hopkins against the Buffalo Bills last week. Kyler Murray is very, very expensive. If you want him in the captain spot, you're going to have to pay $19,500 for him. It's a lot of money. I mean, I want him on my team, and I want him as my captain, but if I have him as my captain, he's got to outscore everyone else on that team by 10 points for it to make sense. DeAndre Hopkins is number 1 pass catchers, $3,000 cheaper than him. It's not out of the realm of possibility that they could both get around 25, 30 points. But Kyler Murray is doing it every week. I mean, Hopkins is on, Hopkins is off. If Hopkins wouldn't have caught that Hail Mary last week, Hopkins would have been off in the last play of the game. Kyler Murray, it's hard to do, but I would like to pay up for him for captain if I can find the salary for my flex positions as we go down. I think Kyler Murray is the highest scoring player on the slate, and why wouldn't I? He has been scoring higher than essentially everyone the entire season. In comes Russell Wilson, $17,700, with a less than 100% Tyler Lockett, with a DK Metcalf who's going to be blanketed by Patrick Peterson, who's had DK Metcalf's number. I don't always rely so heavily on the defensive back that's going to cover the stud wide receiver. DK Metcalf is certainly talented enough to win half of those matchups. I mean, he's an absolute stud. He could do it. But it just seems more unlikely that he's going to absolutely explode and be in the captain spot. I think he probably gets a touchdown, but is he going to get two? Man, I don't know. He could, but it's a tough matchup, no doubt about it. Russell Wilson, I have ranked underneath Kyler Murray. You want to have one of these quarterbacks in your lineup. It's going to be tough to get both of them in your lineup because of the price. You would have to go down and say, I'm not playing DeAndre Hopkins. I'm not playing DK Metcalf or Tyler Lockett. I'm going to play all punt guys like you probably fit Christian Kirk in there, maybe. With these two quarterbacks, it seems not ideal. Look, Kyler Murray could go out and score 30 points. Russell Wilson could score 22 or vice versa. Therefore, you don't want the guy who scores less on your team because the salary's probably not going to work out. Excuse me. That was unprofessional. It's Kyler Murray over Russell Wilson for me. Next up, DeAndre Hopkins, $16,200. Yeah, I like DeAndre Hopkins. Last time they met, he caught 10 balls for 103 yards and 1 touchdown going up against Seattle. We all know target Seattle. They're terrible. 32nd against the wide receiver and the quarterback. You gotta have a guy going up against Seattle. It's either going to be Hopkins or it's going to be Christian Kirk for me. I prefer Hopkins. The price is only $1,500 cheaper than Russell Wilson. That's a little scary, granted, but he's obviously an elite talent. He's going to have to put up over 20 points to be on the winning lineup at that price. He could do it going against Seattle in a primetime spot. I like DeAndre Hopkins, but Kyler Murray's still my top guy. DK Metcalf, kind of touched on him. He's going to be covered by Patrick Peterson. It's been a tough matchup for him. I already talked about DK Metcalf. I don't think I want him at the captain spot, especially being the fourth highest priced guy on the slate, but at a flex, I think you could do much worse, obviously, than DK Metcalf. I think he far exceeds what he did last time in this matchup. 2 receptions for 23 yards, but it was the Lockett show. 200 yards for Lockett. DK Metcalf is certainly going to be more involved, especially when Tyler Lockett's not 100%. He's up next, $14,100. People are probably going to chase the 200-yard game. Because why wouldn't you? I mean, he's in a better spot than DK Metcalf. One of these guys has to get the ball. I think he has a pretty decent game, even not at 100%. Hopefully he makes it through, doesn't re-aggravate this knee sprain, or hopefully he's not going out there and playing a decoy role. You have to worry about that somewhat too. But $14,100, I'll probably be a little underweight on him. Look, if he goes out, he's 100%, he's in a great spot. I just don't think he's 100%. It doesn't sound like Pete Carroll thinks he's 100% either. He's not going for 200 yards again. He could catch a touchdown. He could catch 2. I don't think he breaks 100 yards in this matchup. I could be wrong. It's hard to say that just because he did it last time in DK Metcalf. I've already done the whole thing. I just don't think he's 100%. He worries me. Chris Carson, unlikely to play in this game. I touched on it at the beginning of the show, which would leave a lot of volume for Carlos Hyde and probably Alex Collins / DJ Dallas. We'll get to him. I'm acting as if Carson is out of this game because that's what I'm hearing in the Twitter atmosphere. Christian Kirk, $11,100, excuse me, at the captain spot. You could consider him a captain because he is significantly cheaper than Hopkins, Wilson, Murray, all the guys I've listed above him. He had strung together 3 or 4 games, I think it was, were close to 20 points. He had a dud against the Buffalo Bills last week. I think he can bounce back here. It's a good spot. You're still going up against Seattle defense. It is either going to be Mr. Christian Kirk or it's going to be DeAndre Hopkins. One of the two is going to go off. So I will have at least one of the two in every single one of my lineups. If you can fit 2 in your lineups, that's great. You would obviously pair him with Kyler Murray, but if you do that, you're not going to be able to get Russell Wilson in one of his top guys. I think you need at least one of the 2. If you can find a way to get 2, that is great. Kenyan Drake is next, $9,300. Little questionable tag by his name. Looks like he's going to play. Touched on it earlier. He's going to be splitting with Chase Edmonds. Quite frankly, I was saying it at the beginning of the season, people were drafting this guy way too high because he had 3 good games at the end of last season or whatever it was. He's going to split carries. He's going to get, 10, 12 touches, maybe 1 or 2 targets in the pass game. He's going to have to break one. His price is down, 6,200. He's a decent play. It's starting running back going up against Seattle. It's a decent play, even though Seattle's not like the doormat of the NFL. You can run on them, but it's not like the easiest matchup out there. I would prefer Chase Edmonds in this matchup, quite frankly, because I'm going to save, $1,000, $900, and I think he's going to get almost the same amount of touches as Kenyan Drake. And Kenyan Drake's probably not 100%. So I would lean Edmonds there. I don't want both of them on the same team. Chase Edmonds next up, 8,400. Just touched on him. Don't think I want either one of those guys in the captain spot, though, on a wide receiver or the quarterback in this matchup. Carlos Hyde is underpriced, 7,800 at the captain spot, 5,200 at the flex. He is going to be the starting running back given that Chris Carson is out. Last game he played was up against the Arizona Cardinals. He got 15 touches, 68 yards, and a touchdown. 3 receptions on 4 targets for 8 yards and no touchdown. 16.6 DraftKings points. I think you can expect double digits from him. Get you 12-13 at $5,200. That's going to work out fine. I like Carlos Hyde a lot. I think he's going to take away the Alex Collins touches we saw from last week. He got 11 last week. Carlos Hyde is going to be your starting guy. Collins might get in there and get a handful of snaps. DJ Dallas might get a handful of snaps, but it should be Carlos Hyde in the backfield for the majority. David Moore is underneath him, $4,800. He was going to be an absolute smash play if Tyler Lockett was out. But Tyler Lockett is likely to be in now from what I'm seeing. I've said it 5 times so far today. And if he is playing somewhat of a decoy role, David Moore's still going to get his. David Moore's still in a good spot going up against Arizona here. He's kind of a boomer bust player last week against the Rams, who are a good defense. Expectively did not have a big day. But up against the Bills, he beat Christian Kirk, what Christian Kirk did last week, 17 points. Up against San Fran, 13.6. He's a guy that gets targeted in the end zone for sure. You've noticed this about David Moore the past couple years. He just has really come on strong this year, especially with Russell Wilson playing like the MVP, but so is Kyler Murray. David Moore, still way too cheap. He should be popular. I'll eat the chalk, $4,800. Larry Fitzgerald underneath him, $4,400. I don't see why you wouldn't play David Moore for $400 more. Larry Fitzgerald has not been able to find the end zone this season. Still some of, if not the best hands in the league. He just doesn't have the gas tank, if that's the right way to say it. He's just not going to get you chunk yardage. Like, he's not going to outrun anybody. He's not outrunning people. He's catching balls and moving the chains. Yes, he could get targeted in the end zone, but why wouldn't you play David Moore for $400 more? The kickers are up next. Gonzalez, Myers. I lean Myers if I'm picking one. $200 cheaper at home. Seattle's favored. I just lean Myers. It's hard to predict kickers. So it is what it is. He's a little bit cheaper. Seattle's favored, high-scoring game. I will tell you, though, it's not typical in a high-scoring game that both kickers, if any kicker, is on the winning lineup. If you're choosing one, I go Myers, but you don't want to in a high-scoring game. Yeah, that I can tell you for sure. You've got Alex Collins up next, $3,800, 43 yards last game. But, of course, Carlos Hyde was out. Chris Carson was out. He's probably going to be the backup to Carlos Hyde here. I don't think it's going to be DJ Dallas. DJ had that one big game 2 weeks ago when everybody was hurt. It seems like it'd be Alex Collins here. You don't want to play more than one running back for the Seattle Seahawks on your team. I don't think I really want any Collins with Hyde in. Hopefully he doesn't vulture Hyde. Now you get to the Seattle tight end position, which I am finding the most difficult position this week. You have 3 to choose from with Greg Olsen, old man Greg. Old Greg, you've got Disley in there, and you've got Jacob Hollister. Jacob Hollister is the cheapest one at $1,000, and you're really just looking for one of these guys to fall into the end zone. I think I would lean Hollister probably because of the cheaper price. But look, they're all in the same spot. Excuse me, all in the same spot, going up against the same defense. It could be any of the 3. It could be any of the 3. So if you have the salary, you can go Olsen and start working your way down. But if you're really tearing your hair out trying to figure out which of these tight ends to play, I'm going to have to hedge this, guys. I would make 3 lineups and just swap out the tight end and not swap out any of the other players. If you even want to play one of these tight ends. Quite frankly, none of them ever really do much, Olsen, Disley, or Hollister. But you're trying to figure out what to do on a showdown lineup. Make 3 lineups, swap out the tight ends. Don't worry about the salary. Don't start tinkering with the salary on the other positions. If you're going to play $30, you're planning on playing a $30 lineup, make 3 $10 lineups. That's my advice there. You just got to hedge that one out. That's all there is to it. There are 3 viable tight ends. You've got the 2 defenses next, the Cardinals and the Seahawks. No, thank you. High-scoring game, not interested. Both defenses, bad. Tight end for the Arizona Cardinals is up next. Dan Arnold, 4 targets last week. He's going to be my favorite out of the tight ends for the Arizona Cardinals. Max Williams might be back, but he has played in 2 games. 2 games this season, 1 touchdown on 1 target. Got lucky last time he played. I don't think it was last week. I think it was the week before that. And then you have Daniels, who got 3 targets last week. Darrell Daniels, 3 targets last week. I still think Dan Arnold's your guy there. If you want an Arizona tight end, that's who you want. Again, same kind of conundrum that we're looking at with Seattle. Possibly 3 guys that you can go to. But Dan Arnold, to me, is clearly the better option than the other 2 as far as Seattle goes. I think any of those 3 could get it done. Dissly, Hollister, or Olsen. Dissly, man, he was breaking out last season. That injury really derailed his career. Andy Isabella is a total punt for the Arizona Cardinals side. He's not getting the targets. You've got Kirk. You've got Hopkins. You've got Larry Fitz. Larry Fitz and Isabella, I wouldn't play on the same team because they're essentially both punts for the Arizona Cardinals. You could choose one or the other, but Isabella could get you 1 or 2 points, or you could get lucky and he could go deep. It really feels like a Kirk or a Hopkins game to me, especially in prime time. Andy Isabella, he had 1 good game this season, I think, and he's had a goose egg in one. The past 3, 4, 5 games, his fantasy points don't even eclipse 10 points. Doing the math in my head real quick, 12 points. He's not doing much. 1 target, 3 targets, 3 targets, 2, 3, 3, and he's catching half of them. So he's a total punt. You can go there if you want. It is a showdown slate, and someone weird's going to win the $1 million. Do that if you want. I don't know. I probably won't. I was high on Freddie Swain when Tyler Lockett looked like he was going to be out. Freddie Swain is Tyler Lockett's backup wide receiver. They play the same spot. Both have the same speed. Russell Wilson has shown confidence in throwing it to him. Last week, 3 receptions on 4 targets for 37 yards. He's had a couple games where he got heavily targeted. I think he can pick up chunk yardage. $1,200. He's still going to be my favorite punt on the board because if Tyler Lockett is limited, then it should be Freddie Swain. If Tyler Lockett re-injures that knee or they hold him out at halftime or whatever happens, someone always gets injured. Not predicting injuries, but I know what I'm seeing. Someone's always getting hurt. Freddie Swain would be that guy to step into the Lockett spot. He's my favorite punt on the slate. Underneath him, you've got Hollister, talked about it, DJ Dallas, $600. Look, he could be a little involved in the pass game, more so than like Alex Collins. He might get a couple targets. He got in the end zone 2 out of the last 3 weeks. I know last week he wasn't as heavily utilized against the LA Rams, but Hyde wasn't back. I don't know. He's going to pay off $600 probably, but is he going to be on the winning lineup? Probably not. I think that's it. I'm scanning down to see if there's anyone I missed. I didn't. So if you haven't done it already, please smash that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. Please follow me on Twitter at @TenaciousDJones or go over to FTN Daily. Get a subscription. Check out all of the pros over at FTN Daily. I mean, these guys are pulling in big time bucks and they're helping a lot of subs, and you should check it out if you haven't. We also have some free tools over there if you just want to poke around and see if you're interested. By all means, ftndaily.com. I appreciate you watching. Thanks again. Hope you take it down. Goodbye.